Hello there. This video is an introduction to the fetch function in CollectionsIndex Web Edition. Fetch is a useful tool that, as the name suggests, fetches lists of associated records based on your current search result. For example, you might fetch a list of acquisition records that relate to the object you're looking at, or you could fetch a list of all the image assets being used by a current list of archive records. But first of all, where can you find the fetch function? So the fetch function is located at the bottom of a search summary. So I'll just generate a quick one now in my objects module here. And alongside other system tools, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see a number of options, including this area here, which is titled Fetch from All Records To, and this is where fetch lives. Now the options you see down here will depend on the type of record you're currently searching and also the modules you have installed on your system. For example, in this system I have the extended media option, so you can see I have a number of different assets listed here under the assets title. But now let's move on to some examples and see what fetch can do for you. So in this first example, let's say that we're looking for a specific group of objects. So let's run an advanced search and let's say that we're looking for objects that are in a certain location. So we're going to pick current location controlled is, and then we're going to pick from our terms as usual. And let's say we're going to find all of our objects in this offsite storage location. I'm going to hit search. And we can see we've got 61 results. So we have 61 objects logged at this location. So let's say that maybe we want to identify and export data regarding the acquisition of all of these objects. How can we quickly access all of that data? Well, we can use fetch. So if I scroll down to the bottom, we have our fetch down here, and you can see underneath activities, I can request to see all of the acquisition activity records that relate to these objects. So I simply click on acquisition, and I'm now looking at a list of acquisition records that govern one or more of those objects we were just looking at. For this second example, I'm viewing a list of archive records. I've already run a search and I want to be a little bit more specific. So as well as fetching for the whole search results, you can, like other tools in the system, actually check the boxes in this column just to select certain records that you want to involve in the operation, in this case a fetch operation. So let's tick those boxes there. If I scroll down to the bottom now, you can see that fetch is, the wording has changed and now it says fetch from selected records. So it's not going to fetch from the whole search result, it's just going to fetch from those we've ticked. And for this example, let's say we want to see a list of all the images being used across those archive records. We simply go to the assets column of fetch, click on images, and now we've got a list of all the images being used across those records. In this final example, I'm actually going to search across an activity record. I'm searching across use of collections. Let's say I'm particularly interested in finding out about objects being used in our handling sessions. So one way around I could search for that is to find all the use of collections records where the collections use type is handling session. So I run a search as normal and I can see there are 15 use of collections which are identified as handling sessions. And let's say I just want to see a list of all the objects that have been used in any of these handling sessions. Well, I can simply scroll down to fetch, and under the collections column I can click on objects, and I'm now seeing all the objects that have been used in one or more of those handling sessions. Well, that's it for this introduction to fetch. It's a simple and effective feature for helping you retrieve relevant information about your collections. If you don't currently have access to the fetch feature, please do reach out to us about arranging an update. As always, we are always keen to hear from you about what other video topics you might find useful to be covered on this channel. And if you aren't a current CollectionsIndex user, please do bear in mind you can reach out to us for a free, no strings attached demonstration. That's it for now. I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.